a medical transfer. He wanted to be moved to a hospital facility outside the prison. He wanted a change of location, a change of guards, a change of environment. He wanted to run, because he knew what was coming.
Okay, so you've illegally obtained medical records. Are we going to see them? Are you going to put them up on the screen for us? Should I just, stay in my lane and not say anything about stuff like this? Should I just shut up? What do you think, guys? Put in the comments, because I'd really like to know what you think. It's absolute rubbish. Who watches this stuff? 19,000 views.
1 hour, alone, surrounded by guards. But here's what the official reports don't tell you. He's not alone. 7 a.m., exercise yard time. 1 hour, alone.
Welcome back, guys. I hope you're all well. Today we're going to have a look at this. It looks like AI has struck again. I wanted to have a look at this because this has got 19,000 views. It's not cool to bash on other creators or bring other creators down, but when absolute rubbish like this is getting 19,000 views, I have to say something. It's just like all the hard work that you put in. Is it worth it when I'm getting 2,000 and 3,000 views, sometimes 10,000, and this is getting 19,000 views? Am I bitter? Damn right. Is it fair? Am I being petty? You tell me in the comments. Let's go through it together. When I read this, when I first saw it, I thought, oh, this will be interesting. Breaking. Chris Watts. January prison update, Aryan Brotherhood threats, new leaks, and what happens next. So I thought, oh, have we got an update? So I thought this would be a good watch. And then I started watching it. I've only watched the first minute of this. It's exactly the same as what was said in the last one about the Aryan Brotherhood. So let's take a look. 19,000 views, bear in mind. I think all they've done is use a couple of photos and put into ChatGPT, give me a 20-minute script of Chris Watts and add in the Aryan Brotherhood, and it's spewed out this load of bull. Because judging by that title, you would think something brand new would come up, wouldn't you? Or am I being too dramatic? What's the point in me spending hours and hours and hours and hours researching, making sure you get things correct, when I can just put it into ChatGPT and get 19,000 views?
They warned him in 2025. It was quiet, almost respectful. A conversation in the yard. A look across the cafeteria. The Aryan Brotherhood letting him know they were watching. But this? January 2026?
The other thing is, I don't know, even if this was true, why it'd be such of a big deal, because we all know that there's gangs in prison.
They warned him in 2025. It was quiet, almost respectful. A conversation in the yard. A look across the cafeteria.
Conversation in the yard, a look across the cafeteria. Now, how would they know that? Unless they were in prison with him, how would they know?
The Aryan Brotherhood letting him know they were watching. But this? January 2026? This is different. Christopher Watts is no longer being warned. He's being hunted. And the letters I've obtained, the leaked communications, the testimony from inside those walls.
The letters he's obtained. So we should have some letters then. I'd imagine he's going to put on the screen, or she's going to put on the screen, these leaked communications and these leaked letters. Now, I'll bet every single thing that I own that doesn't happen. But who knows? Let's carry on.
It's a picture so disturbing, I had to stop recording twice just to process what I was reading. You think you know this case? You don't. Not yet. Because what's happening to Chris Watts right now inside those prison walls? It's not just karma. It's not just justice. It's something far more terrifying. And before we go any further, I need you to understand something about me. My name is True Crime Stories HD. I'm an investigative reporter.
I doubt that very much.
I'm also a father who lost a child to crime.
If that's true, then I'm very, very sorry for your loss.
It changed everything. It's why I do this. It's why I dig into cases that most people turn away from. It's why gathering this information, reading these letters, hearing these details, it tears me apart every single time.
Very dramatic, isn't it? Very dramatic. It's why I do this. It's why it tears me apart every single time. What a load of rubbish.
But before we dive into the darkness of this case, I want us to take a moment for Shanann, for Bella,
Can't even get her name right.
for Celeste, for Nico, the son who never got to take his first breath. If you're watching this, type Amen in the comments. Let their family know they are not forgotten.
Sorry if I seem over the top, but it just gets my goat, this stuff. When there's no effort whatsoever, and they haven't even bothered to get the names right. Like I said before, I make mistakes sometimes. Sometimes when I'm doing the captions, it takes a couple of hours to do the captions, unless I can do it automatically. Sometimes the computer will pick up the captions automatically, and it'll put them in, but I still have to go back and check everything. And sometimes, if the audio's not good enough, then I have to do them by hand, each word. So it just depends on how good the audio is. But I still have to go back and check that the names are spelled correctly and details are inputted correctly, you know? So when I see stuff like this, I think, what's the point? I think it's just totally disrespectful as well when you can't get people's names right that have passed away and you're doing videos on the case. Am I right or am I wrong? Please put it in the comments. Am I overreacting?
Feel your support across the distance. And for you, everyone watching this right now, I pray protection over you. Protection over your mind as we walk through this. Protection over your family. Protection over your children. Because cases like this, they remind us how fragile everything is. Type Amen if you receive that prayer.
Amen.
Now, let's talk about what's really happening to Christopher Watts.
Please
At the
do.
end of 2025, there was an approach. It was light, almost cordial by prison standards. The Brotherhood let Chris know, "We see you. We know what you did. We'll be in touch." But January 2026? The approach is no longer light. It's no longer a warning. It's a countdown. And Chris Watts knows it. Let me show you the evidence. In December, Watts tried something desperate. He faked an illness. Claimed he needed medical transfer. What? Because he wanted out. He wanted relocation. He wanted protection. But here's what he didn't count on. The Aryan Brotherhood has people everywhere. And they sent him a message that made it crystal clear. There is no running from this. Do you think he deserves protection? Or is this exactly what should happen to someone who did what he did? Comment below. December 28, 2025. 11:40.
It's only a matter of time before someone gets to him anyway. Someone will get to him in the end. So he faked an illness. Okay, where's your proof? Where's the proof that he faked an illness? Have you got his prison records? Are you going to put his prison records up on the screen so we can have a look at it? I doubt you'll get his medical records. So how would they know? How would this person know that they'd faked an illness? Number one, they wouldn't have been able to obtain his medical records. And number two, the only other way would be they'd have to witness it. So they'd have to be in prison themselves. And considering they've just said that they're a private investigator, because they do these cases and it tears them apart, I don't think they would have been in prison. It's going to be a bit of a rant, this video, I think. And we've got exactly the same information as the last video.
Yeah. Christopher Watts triggered the emergency call button in his cell. When guards arrived, he was on the floor, clutching his chest, gasping for air, claiming he was having a heart attack. Medical staff rushed in. They ran tests, KG, blood work, full cardiac panel. Result? Absolutely nothing wrong with him. His heart was fine. His vitals were normal. There was no medical emergency. It was an act, a performance, a manipulation. But why? I obtained medical records through a confidential source. Records that reveal Chris Watts' true intention.
Okay, so you've illegally obtained medical records. Are we going to see them? Are you going to put them up on the screen for us to prove what you're saying? Or are you just making everything up?
He wanted a medical transfer. He wanted to be moved to a hospital facility outside the prison. He wanted a change of location, a change of guards, a change of environment. He wanted to run. Because he knew what was coming. He knew the Brotherhood's December 1.
Well, there we are then. Just because Chris Watts wants to change of guards, just because Chris Watts fancies a change of guards and a change of the system, they'll just accommodate him, will they? Just like that. Just because he wants a bit of a move. He doesn't like the scenery where he is, so he fancies a move. Oh, there we are then, Chris. That's what they'll say, will they? Okay then, Chris, no problem. Pack your stuff. We'll see if we can get you a room with a view. We'll see if we can get you a seaside view out your window. How's that? Is that what they'll do? It's absolute rubbish. Who watches this stuff? 19,000 views.
Warning wasn't just talk. But prison officials saw through it immediately. They denied the transfer. They returned him to his cell. They added a note to his file. Inmate Watts attempted manipulation of medical system for relocation purposes.
I don't even think you'd relocate because of medical reasons. The only reasons you normally locate is if you have better access to being near family and you can get into a prison where your birthplace was. That's the only reason. Or overcrowding and limited spaces and stuff like that.
And when that note was filed, when Chris Watts realized his plan had failed, that's when the Aryan Brotherhood knew he was afraid. And fear? In prison? Fear is blood in the water. A source inside Dodge Correctional told me something chilling. He said, after that fake heart attack, the Brotherhood started smiling when they saw Chris in the halls. They knew they had him. They knew he was breaking. And they decided to turn up the pressure. January 1st, 2026. New Year's Day. While most of America was celebrating, making resolutions, spending time with family, Christopher Watts received his first official death threat of the new year. It was slipped under his cell door. Handwritten. Simple. Direct. This year you pay. No guards.
Okay, again, how would they know that? Any proof of this? Have you got any proof of this whatsoever? I could make a video and claim all sorts of stuff, but I'd put the proof up.
No escape. Count your days. No signature. But Chris knew exactly who sent it. 3 days later, another letter. Then another. Then another. By January 10th, Chris Watts had received 17 separate threats, all from inside the prison, all making it clear that the Aryan Brotherhood was no longer watching from a distance. They were closing in. And here's what makes this so terrifying. Prison officials are aware. They've documented every threat. And they've done almost nothing to stop it. What? I spoke with a former corrections officer who worked at Dodge Correctional until
Who? Who have you spoke to? What's his name? Where's the proof?
2025. He told me something that made my blood run cold. He said, everyone inside those walls knows what Chris Watts did. The guard.
Everyone in the world knows what Chris Watts did. Never mind everybody in the prison. Jeez.
The warden. The staff. And nobody, absolutely nobody, feels motivated to protect him. If the Brotherhood gets to him, a lot of people will look the other way. Think about that. Chris Watts is surrounded by people who are supposed to keep him safe. And none of them want to. The new year isn't looking good for Christopher Watts. In fact, it might be looking final. Do you think prison officials should protect Chris Watts? Or should they let karma run its course? Comment below, I want to know what you think. But here's where it gets even darker. Because the threats aren't the worst part. The worst part is what's happening to Chris Watts psychologically. And the leaked letters that prove it. Let me walk you through what a typical day looks like for Christopher Watts in January 2026. Because this isn't the routine he had in December. This isn't the isolated but predictable existence he'd grown used to. This is psychological warfare. 5:30 a.m. Chris wakes up. Except he didn't really sleep. The lights in his cell never turn off anymore. Guards claim it's for enhanced security monitoring. But we both know what it really is. It's so they can watch him break down in real time. 5:45 a.m. breakfast is delivered to his cell. A tray slid through the slot. No interaction.
Hi, I'm Gemini.
What time is breakfast served at Dodge Correctional Facility?
Federal prison routines suggest breakfast is often served between 6:30 and 7:30 a.m. Is there anything more specific you needed to know?
So not at 5:30.
No conversation. Just food. But Chris doesn't eat right away. He inspects every item. Checks for tampering. Smells it. Examines it under the light. What? Because he's paranoid. Because he's been told the Brotherhood has people everywhere. Even in the kitchen. 6:30 a.m. he attempts to eat. Guards report he finishes maybe 30% of his meals now. He's lost 18 pounds since December. He's wasted.
So it's took him over an hour to eat a bowl of cornflakes. Because that's what you get in prison, is cereal. And cereal is about that big. So it's took him over an hour to eat that.
7 a.m. exercise yard time. 1 hour. Alone. Surrounded by guards. But here's what the official reports don't tell you. He's not alone. 7 a.m., exercise yard time. 1 hour. Alone. Surrounded by guards. But here's what the official reports don't tell you. He's not alone. 7 a.m., exercise yard time. 1 hour. Alone. Surrounded by guards. But here's what the official reports don't tell you. He's not alone. I obtained surveillance footage, grainy, low quality but clear enough. While I obtained surveillance footage, grainy, low quality but clear enough. I obtained surveillance footage, grainy, low quality but clear enough. While Chris Watts exercises in his designated area, members of the Aryan Brotherhood position themselves around the yard.
Okay, so can we see the grainy footage that you've got? However grainy it is. Can we at least see it?
They just watch. And they make sure Chris sees them watching. One source described it as psychological
Or maybe that's in part 2.
hunting. They said, it's like wolves circling wounded prey. They're not ready to attack yet. But they want him to know the attack is coming. They want him.
Or maybe somebody is telling porcupines. Is somebody making this all up? It's a good story. I'll give him that.
Him to live in that terror every single day. Chris Watts runs on the track. His eyes constantly dart to the perimeter, to the watchers, to the men who've promised to end him. Guards say he used to run for 45 minutes straight. Now he barely makes it 15 minutes before returning to his cell, drenched in sweat, hyperventilating. 8:30 a.m. return to cell. Isolation. Nothing but 4 walls and those lights that never fade. And this is where it gets truly disturbing.
So, according to your timings, he's been out on exercise for 1 hour and 40 minutes. Rubbish.
Because I've obtained letters, multiple letters, that Chris Watts has written in recent weeks. And what they reveal is shocking. Not because of what he says about Shanann, Bella, Celeste.
Name wrong again. I'm going to write this down and see what we've got at the end. So we've got grainy TV footage, we've got letters that he's obtained, and we've got footage of him on exercise. Okay, so let's carry on. This is going to be good when we see all this.
Or Nico. But because he doesn't mention them at all. I'm going to read you excerpts from 3 letters Christopher Watts wrote in January 2026. These were obtained through confidential sources. They've been verified as authentic.
Oh, and we've got statements from an ex-prison officer. Okay? So that's what we've got so far.
And they will disgust you. The pressure here is unbearable. Every day I wake up wondering if it will be my last. The threats keep coming. Nobody here cares about my safety. I'm completely alone. This isn't justice, this is torture. I don't know how much longer I can survive this. I've been trying to get transferred for months but nobody will listen. They want me to suffer. They want me to live in fear. I can't sleep. I can't eat. I'm constantly looking over my shoulder. This isn't what I agreed to when I took the plea deal. I was supposed to be protected. Let those words sink in for a moment. Christopher Watts, the man.
He could be protected if he wanted to. If his life was under threat, he could be on the protection wing. People still might get to him, but there's less chance of it happening. But he might be with S-offenders and PDF files. Do you know what I mean? But he'd be protected.
Man who strangled his pregnant wife with his bare hands. The man who smothered his 4-year-old daughter, then drove her dying body to a remote oil site with her 3-year-old sister still alive in the back seat. The man who smothered Celeste while Bella watched, then smothered Bella while she begged him not to. The man who dumped their bodies in oil tanks so they wouldn't be found. That man is complaining about his anxiety. Not once, in any of these letters does he mention Shanann. Not once does he say Bella's name. Not once does he acknowledge what he took from Celeste.
That's probably the first bit of truth in this video.
Not once does he mention the son he killed before he was even born.
Am I overreacting, guys? I mean, is this really worth 19,000 views?
Psychologists call selective remorse. Chris Watts regrets his circumstances.
Am I just being a bit picky? Should I just, stay in my lane and not say anything about stuff like this? Should I just shut up? What do you think, guys? Put in the comments, because I'd really like to know what you think, because somebody's watching this.
He regrets getting caught. He regrets that his life is now filled with fear and isolation. But he does not regret what he did to his family. And that might be the most chilling truth of all.
Untruthful claims. That's what I despise. That's what gets on my nerves.
The fact that this man is one of the most hated people in America. Women still write him love letters. Not one woman. Not two women. Dozens of women. I've obtained copies of correspondence between Chris Watts and multiple women.
Okay, so we know that Chris was having love letters. That part is true. And it was off multiple women. We know this because the letters are in the discovery. I haven't been over them, but I can go over them. But that's not what this video is stating. This video is titled as if it's brand new stuff. So where is the proof?
Writing him for years, others who just started in recent months. And the content of these letters? It's disturbing beyond belief. Chris, I know what the world says about you. But I see the real you. I see a man who made a terrible mistake. A man who deserves a second chance. I think about you every day. I pray for you every night. You're not alone. I'm here for you. I've been following your case for years, and I just need you to know that not everyone has abandoned you. You have people who care. People who see beyond the headlines. I would love to visit you someday if you're open to it. You deserve kindness. I don't believe you're the monster they say you are. I think you were pushed to your breaking point. I think you were in an impossible situation. And I think you deserve compassion, not hatred. Please write back. I need to hear
that bit could actually be true because it does ring a bell. I remember vaguely those words in one of the letters, so that could actually be true.
Christopher Watts murdered his pregnant wife and 2 young daughters. There is no other side to this story. There is no push to his breaking point. There is no justification. And yet these women, are writing him love letters. And worse, he's writing back. I've confirmed that Chris Watts has been actively corresponding with at least 8 different women since November 2025. What? Because Chris Watts is and has always been a manipulator. He manipulated Shanann into believing he loved her while he was planning her murder. He manipulated Nicole Kessinger into believing he was separated and available. He manipulated his parents into believing Shanann was the problem. He manipulated investigators during interrogation for hours before finally confessing. And now he's manipulating lonely, vulnerable women into believing he's a victim. But here's where this gets even more dangerous. The Aryan Brotherhood has noticed. They see every letter that arrives. They track every visitor request. They monitor every piece of mail that leaves his cell. And they've made it very clear. Every woman who loves Christopher Watts is putting him in greater danger. Because the...
How are they monitoring all his posts? How are they monitoring all his mail? The only people that would check that would be security. Surely. Another wild claim.
The Brotherhood sees these letters as proof that Chris is still enjoying attention. Still receiving admiration. Still living a life of comfort while Shanann, Bella, Celeste and Nico are in graves. Several women have already stopped visiting after receiving anonymous warnings. Warnings that if they continue to support Chris Watts, they'll be considered complicit in his crimes. This isn't just disturbing. This is evidence that even from inside a maximum security prison, Christopher Watts is still trying to control his narrative. Still trying to be seen as something other than what he is. A family annihilator. A child killer. A monster. Now we need to talk about Cindy Watts, Chris's mother. The woman who, even now, even after all the evidence, all the confessions, all the horror, still defends her son. In December 2025, Cindy Watts gave an interview to a small podcast. The episode has since been deleted, but I obtained the audio. And what she said, it's almost as disturbing as what her son did.
I'm not aware of any podcast that Chris's mum Cindy did. So we've got Cindy on a podcast that's been deleted, but this person's got it. So are you going to play some audio from it? Because if that's lies, then that's, if that's lies, it's not very fair on his mother.
Christopher was always a good boy, a gentle boy. He would never hurt anyone unless he was pushed to it. And Shanna, she pushed him. She controlled him. She manipulated him. She made his life unbearable. I'm not saying what he did was right. But I am saying there's more to this story than people know. Let me repeat that. Cindy Watts, the grandmother of Bella and Celeste, blamed Shanann for her own murder. She blamed a woman who was 15 weeks pregnant. A woman who was asleep when her husband strangled her. A woman who fought for her life while her killer looked her in the eyes. Cindy Watts blamed her. And it gets worse. In January 2026, Cindy Watts launched a petition calling for Chris's case to be reviewed. She's claiming he was coerced into his confession. That he was manipulated by investigators.
This is dangerous, putting stuff out there like this. If Chris's mother, Cindy, hasn't done that, and this channel is saying that she has, it could bring her a lot of hate through no fault of her own. I know she denied it at first, but I think that later on, she come to terms with the fact that Chris had done it. I'm unsure on that one, but I'm not aware of any podcast that she's been on in January 2026. Cindy Watts been on a podcast 2026 and it's been deleted? Put in the comments. I don't think that's true.
That he deserves a new trial. She's collected over 3,000 signatures. Think about that. 3,000 people who believe Christopher Watts deserves another chance. But here's what Cindy Watts doesn't talk about. She doesn't talk about how Shanann's parents will never hold their daughter again. She doesn't talk about how Bella died knowing her father was killing her. She doesn't talk about how Celeste's last moments were filled with terror. She doesn't talk about Nico, the grandson she'll never meet because her son killed him before he could be born. All she talks about is protecting Christopher. And now, with the Aryan Brotherhood closing in, Cindy Watts is doing everything in her power to get her son moved. She's contacted lawyers. She's filed motions. She's written letters to prison officials, the governor, even the president. She's fighting harder for her son than she ever fought for her granddaughters. What do you think of Cindy Watts? Is she a grieving mother? Or is she an enabler who helped create a monster? Comment below. But not everyone in the Watts family agrees with Cindy. In recent weeks, several extended family members have begun speaking publicly. And what they're revealing is explosive. I spoke with a cousin of Chris Watts, someone I'll call KM for privacy reasons, who agreed to share their perspective. We all saw the signs. The way Chris needed to be in control. The way he couldn't handle any kind of confrontation. The way he would just shut down emotionally instead of dealing with problems. But nobody thought he was capable of this. Nobody thought he could kill. Looking back now, maybe we should have known. Maybe we should have said something. But you don't want to believe someone in your family could do something like this. Another relative, DW, shared something even more disturbing. Cindy always protected Chris. Always. Even when he did something wrong as a kid, she would make excuses. She would blame other people. She would never let him face consequences. And I think that's part of why he is the way he is. He was never taught accountability. He was never taught that actions have consequences.
If this is just all lies, then it's terrible. It's worse than what I thought. I thought it was just a couple of lies or speculation about the Brotherhood. But this is going even deeper. This is like bringing real people, real life people into it. I just can't see why Cindy Watts would do a podcast and then it be deleted.
He was taught that if you mess up, someone will come save you. And that's exactly what Cindy's trying to do now. She's trying to save him from the consequences of murdering his family. These family members are breaking years of silence. And they're doing it because they're horrified by Cindy's continued defense of Christopher. They're doing it because they believe Shanann deserves better. They're doing it because Bella and Celeste and Nico deserve to be remembered as the victims, not Chris Watts. And here's what's most powerful. Several of Chris's own relatives have publicly stated that they support the Razusek family, Shanann's family. They've apologized for Cindy's behavior. They've donated to charity.
I can't get any of the names right.
In Bella and Celeste's names. They've made it clear, we stand with the victims, not the killer. That takes courage. That takes integrity. And it proves that not everyone in the Watts family is willing to rewrite history to protect a murderer. Let me ask you something. Why are you still watching this video? Why, after all these years, are millions
why am I still watching this video?
of people still obsessed with the Chris Watts case? I'll tell you why. Because it terrifies us. Chris Watts wasn't a stranger lurking in the shadows. He wasn't a random criminal with a violent history. He wasn't obviously dangerous. He was the neighbor who smiled at you. The dad who played with his kids in the yard. The husband who posted happy family photos on Facebook. He was normal. And that's what makes this case so uniquely horrifying. Because if Chris Watts could do this, if someone who seemed so ordinary, so harmless, so loving could murder his entire family, then how do we know who to trust? I've spoken with dozens of people who knew Chris and Shanann. Friends, neighbors, co-workers. And every single one of them said the same thing.
Who? Where's the proof?
We never saw it coming. Chris was quiet, polite, reserved. He went to work, came home, played with his daughters, mowed his lawn. He was boring. And boring people don't commit family annihilation. Except they do. And that's why this case won't let go of us. Because it forces us to confront an uncomfortable truth. Evil doesn't always look evil. Sometimes it looks like someone you know. Shanann's friend Nicole Atkinson was the one who called police when Shanann didn't respond to messages. She later said, "I knew something was wrong immediately." Shanann
You even called her Sean then.
would never ignore me. She would never not answer her phone. But I never thought Chris hurt her. I thought maybe there was an intruder. Maybe someone broke in. I never thought it was him. Even when police arrived at the house, even when Chris was standing there giving his story, Nicole didn't suspect him. Because he seemed so
Absolute rubbish. She suspected him straight away. That's absolute rubbish. I knew it was lies. I knew all this was lies. Nicole suspected Chris straight away. Most of the people involved suspected him straight away. Sandy suspected him straight away. Everyone suspected Chris. Absolute rubbish.
concerned, so worried, so desperate to find his family. It wasn't until the body cam footage was analyzed later that experts noticed the signs. The fake emotion. The rehearsed responses. The subtle smirks
Fake emotion. There was no emotion.
when he thought no one was looking. Chris Watts is one of the most convincing liars in criminal history. And that's why this case haunts us. Because we wonder, could we have spotted it? Would we have known? Bella and Celeste called him Daddy. They called him their hero. Shanann posted photos of Chris with the girls,
Called her Sean again then. That's twice he's called her Sean.
calling him the best father and my rock. He was their protector, their provider, their safe place, and then he became their killer. The transformation from loving father to family annihilator didn't happen overnight. But the signs were there. May 2018, Chris starts affair with Nicole Kessinger. Behavior begins to change. Becomes distant with Shanann. June 2018, Shanann
Nicole Kessinger.
notices Chris pulling away. Tries to save the marriage. Chris appears to engage but is secretly planning. July 2018, Shanann takes the girls to North Carolina for 6 weeks to visit family.
Called her Sean again.
Chris tells Kessinger this is a trial separation. He's already mentally divorced from his family. August 12, 2018, Shanann returns from North Carolina. She's 15 weeks pregnant. Hoping to reconnect with Chris. August 13, 2018, 2 a.m. Christopher Watts murders his wife. Then murders his daughters. Then disposes of their bodies. By 2:30 a.m.,
How do they know it was 2 a.m. that he done it? Nobody knows what time he done it.
everyone in his family is dead. That's how fast a hero becomes a monster.
By 2:30 a.m., everyone is dead. So they're saying that that's fact. This person, this channel, is saying that they were all dead. See where I'm coming from? This is why I take so much time to make sure I get things correct, or try and get things correct, because this is so disrespectful. Nobody knows what time they'd passed. Nobody. Only Chris. I can't watch any more of this. I'm sorry, guys. I just wanted to bring it up again, because YouTube shouldn't really allow stuff like this. But how do you stop it, I suppose? But I can't watch the end of this. It's just absolute rubbish. No care taken with it whatsoever. Absolutely disrespectful. But there we go. Hey ho, such is life. Sorry for the ranting in this video, guys, but it just really gets to me, this stuff, this low effort crap. I promise I'll be a bit more cheery in the next video. Thanks to Destronic for sponsoring the video. Thank you to the members. Thank you to the mods. So not only has this probably been lies, most of it, it's made claims about Cindy, Chris's mother, that could bring her a lot of hate. There's claims of TV footage, grainy TV footage, no proof from prison. Letters that he sent out that they've obtained, apparently. No proof. Footage of him on the exercise yard. No proof. Statement from an ex-prison officer. No proof. Letters that he sent out in January. No proof. A podcast that Cindy Watts has done in January and has been deleted. January 2026. No proof. Cindy has signed a petition and is getting a petition ready for the case to be reopened. No proof. She's got 3,000 signatures on that petition. No proof, and she's getting lawyers to move Chris to ship him out. We haven't even finished the video. I've only done what, 20 odd minutes of the video. Please tell me in the comments that I'm not overreacting. I'm not going mad. I'm not going insane here. Can't be the only one that only thinks like this. Once again, I'm sorry for the rant. Thanks, guys. Remember, these cases can be emotional and stressful, and sometimes they can be a load of lies like this one. But remember, don't have nightmares. Can't believe absolute load of lies. What a load of shit. What a load of crap. Absolute AI crap. AI crap. When I'm getting 2,000 or 3,000 views and about the Aryan Brotherhood. Fuck. About the Aryan Brotherhood. Am I being too... Fuck's sake.
Request denied. Increased monitoring recommended.
That you agree with me at least, because I don't know how this stuff's getting 90. I don't think you would relocate because of medical. I don't think you'd relocate because of medical. Fuck. I don't think you would even relocate because of medical situations. Medical situations, that doesn't even make sense.
For protection.
I could come and make... So according to this, he's been allowed... So according to your... Sorry guys. I just wanted to bring it up again because I just... You know,